Hey, here we go. I believe we're alive now, ladies and gentlemen. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And happy Tuesday, baby. I got to tell you, it's been a gorgeous morning so far here in Houston. And I hope everyone's feeling, oh man, some level of joy this morning. And if you're not, hit the reset button. And if that can't happen, just hold on, plug into this conversation. If you know somebody that's having some difficult times, share this link to them. Let them get connected, right? Let them find out what's really happening. There's some other options out there that we can dive into, connect into, change our state, and we can change our story. And then from that, we can change our lives, man, right? I mean, Conversations with Geoff is focused on bringing people in that are centered around giving back and understand the power of service and are willing to just be humble and authentic and come in here and deliver a message around health and around family, around business, around spiritual perspectives, and financial perspectives, right? Because you know what? Everybody doesn't have all the answers. But if you can find communities that are focused on sharing, that giving you information that you can take and have an impact in your life, that's the circle you're looking for. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to find that with Conversations with Geoff, right? Our mission, oh man, it's just to empower, encourage, empower, inspire people to hit the button, hit that reset button, and begin to understand the power that they have in managing the conversation they have with themselves about themselves, right? I mean, I got to tell you, we went to, just to get off, we went to a family reunion, man, and that was just a beautiful occurrence. It was in Greenville, South Carolina. It was my wife's family, and they've accepted me, right? So I'm family, and we're hanging out, man, and you talk to different people, and you guys know, some people are like full of life and full of joy, and you can't wait to see them again. And when you want to sit down, you want to grab them and talk to them and just keep them. And then some people you're like, oh. If you're a spiritual and Christian, you pray for them. If you're energy based, you give them, whatever that space they need, and you back up, right? But you still, for me, I don't judge. I'm just sharing my experience, right? And this whole message around Conversations with Geoff is about helping you close down the noise around you, right? The external noise. That's first. We can all hit the news button and get all the information you want. And oh man, I don't know about you, but that doesn't help. But it's the stuff going on in our noggin. What are we doing about that? What are we doing about the stuff that's going on in our noggin, man? And today, I'm talking family, and it's funny, our guest who's been here, I mean, we have one more week, right? And she's gonna come in here with some stuff that's gonna just tear at your heart. So please don't go away. Please stay here, share this message, like, share, subscribe, because this is some real talk we're about to deliver to you. And it speaks to the family. And sometimes just pure grace, right? In this instance, it was grace and prayer that helped this situation out. So anyway, I challenge you, as always, before we start, find yourself in the place, when you find yourself in a place that you really feel like, you're starting to just get carried, weight, burdened with all the noise that's around you, I challenge you to back up. I challenge you, maybe try to drop a nugget in there that kind of might shift their perspective. Don't just walk away. Well, sometimes you have to, but if you can, what can you do at that moment to help that person reset themselves, right? You're not responsible for that, but what can you do? I know one thing you have to do. If you can't do anything else, get away from it, right? Guard yourself, guard your perspective. And I love my family, and I'm grateful that we had a great time. I had the grandbabies. I had to talk about another conversation around family and grandkids, but I'm just loving my babies. Ooh-wee, pop. That's what it's all about for me. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So listen, we all know who's waiting in the wings to come out here and talk to us. I just want to recap with you. Share this, like it, make sure you listen to the replay, all right? And ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, let me bring to the stage Conversations with Geoff, our guest once again, Terri Liggins from Las Vegas. There she is. What's up, my friend?
Hello, hello.
Hey. Sorry it takes so long. Yeah.
No, I was glued to what you were saying. Reset. I love that. Reset.
Reset's so important, right?
Yes, yes.
And,
And with
and so I know
family. Ooh,
yeah, yeah. And you think about family sometimes, and you're like, oh yeah, I love my family, but then do you when it's difficult? And I know we're here to talk about health, but I ask people this question, and first of all, ladies and gentlemen, that you're out there, say hello, drop it in the chat. I'm a little out of sort today, not because I'm a human being, right? And we always sometimes don't have a wire tag. You get what you get with me, right? But so let us know where you're from. Say hi. There we go. What's going on, Miss Elena? Alona? How do you see? I mess her name up every time. I'm gonna get it
yeah,
right.
Ilona. Just think of the
Isona.
I as an E.
All right, Isom. Okay, all right. She's always showing. We appreciate your support and welcome. And then as you come in here, make sure you let us know where you're from. And if you have an idea or a question you want to have, that we can talk about it another time. Please drop that in there too. So anyway, we were talking. This message, I just, wow. All I can tell you. Tell me how you found this situation to be something that gave us a solution to offer the people after we're done talking. Talk about what you shared with us.
Okay, yes. I know over the last couple of weeks here, we've been speaking about things such as the end of life services that my app would be offering people, products and services such as having your DNR, your POA filled out and signed and notarized, everything, ready to go when in need, your living will, living trust, just all of those important papers, having them ready. Well, what I was sharing with Geoff is that over the weekend, last weekend, had a wonderful time with some family members, cousins. I'm telling you, cousins are the best, aren't they? Especially if you've grown up with them,
Yes.
because they didn't have to be your siblings that you
Yep.
had to share bed with and all, share your
Yep.
space with. Cousins were just cool because they were like friends. They were like siblings, but they just had a special place because I had a great experience with growing up with cousins. And so this particular cousin was here in town. I have a cousin who lives here. And then, so there were four of us that went to lunch when they were here. So this particular cousin, he and his wife were here celebrating her birthday. And we were talking about, somehow the topic went to end of life strategies of filling out your will and your this and that. And they're newlyweds. So they haven't gotten together all of their individual information. And so she was just sharing, the wife was just sharing about how, yes, he hasn't told me where those insurance papers are, with this and this. And he's like, yeah, it didn't occur to me. And that is just so common. It's not something that we think about every day. It is not. And it's not something that a lot of times when we do think about it, is not something we want to rush and do because we're like, oh yeah, we can do that later. We can do that. Or, why would I need that? Or just whatever thought goes through someone's mind. The majority of people haven't done it. And just to, speed up the story, the next morning, I got a horrible phone call that same cousin who was sitting there laughing and talking and having a great time suffered a massive stroke. Massive stroke. The great news is that he's alive. He lived. How is it that we were just talking about this? I mean, it really, you have to do this, people. You have to get your affairs in order. We are not guaranteed any next day, next breath, our next 10 minutes are not guaranteed. So, yeah. So he's in the hospital. He's not out of the woods just yet, but he's alive. And so now is a crucial time. So that had me looking up something that I know is very important especially if you suffered a stroke. But because it's so important after a stroke, this is why everyone should be paying attention to this before a stroke even happens, right?
That's right.
B12, B12, write that down. If you don't have B12 in your house, go out and get some today. In the form of supplements or the food, and I'll cover some foods. But why B12? Now, all of the B vitamins are important to the brain. B12 is the most important because I believe it almost acts as DNA, right? So it goes right to the cells that take care of the cognitive part of your learning and of your brain. The cognitive stuff is the how you're speaking, how you're moving your arms, you're moving your legs, and all that. Cognitive is important. Let's just say, anyway. And that's what's happening right now with my cousin. That's what happens with stroke victims that you just can't talk, the side. So a stroke happens on your right side. Oops, right. I'm looking in the camera and I can't get it together. On your right side is where your stroke happens, which is why the left side is affected. And the first sign is the droopy face, right? It's it's hardened, it stays there, and it droops. And your arms, your legs, everything on the left side, it doesn't work. And here's something that I never thought of, but it makes a whole lot of sense. This is why, because when it first happened, his wife thought, he was having a seizure or something, or maybe he was dehydrated, and she was getting ready to give him something to drink, and the dispatcher or someone said, no, do not give him anything to drink. Here's why. If you're paralyzed on the outside, your insides are paralyzed too. Yes. Your whole, everything in your inside your throat, your esophagus, all that, your muscles aren't working. So if that liquid goes down, it will go to your lungs and you'll die of asphyxiation.
Yeah.
You'll basically drown yourself. The least that could happen is you'd have pneumonia and you live, but it's a bad thing. Do not ever give someone who you think is, maybe having a stroke, they cannot have any liquids, even after they're, in recovery in the hospital, they can't have liquids for a while. But B12, back to B12, it just really, so it protects all of the neurons, and the neurons are what cells are called in your brain. So get it. You can get B12 shots. Anyone familiar with B12 shots?
I'm not. I've heard of them, Terry. If anybody out there that's using B12, or drop it in the chat if you know anybody, that's doing that. And if I could interrupt you for a second, Terry, because part of the story too she shared is that there were so many things around this instance of this gentleman's stroke that is why he's here today. Because remember, he's traveling, right? That they were getting ready to travel back to their home too. Is that the timing right? So imagine being on the airplane with that happening. There's grace around us, I guess is the message.
There sure is.
And just don't take that for granted, right?
Right, yeah, because she didn't know anyone in town. I had only met her maybe once or twice before because they were recently married, and so she didn't even have my phone number. It didn't even dawn on me to give her my number. She didn't have my other cousin's number, and so she had to call a relative in Columbus to call me, and she had to check out of the hotel still. She had, and the hotel would not, they would not give an extension. They could not give an extension on the check-in time. And it was more of a timeshare, one of the very beautiful ones down on the Strip. I've gone there several times when people come in town visiting, but I don't know. They couldn't do that. So she had to still pack first and check out. She had to return the car rental. She had to cancel the flight tickets. You're in a whole different hospital that's out of your network for your insurance coverage. I mean, she had to notify his job, her job. Stuff all over the place has to be done. So the grace that Geoff is talking about, what if they had visited here before I moved back to Vegas?
Mm.
And I wasn't able to, help do all this. I've been at the hospital since Sunday for, a lot of hours. And what if, and the other cousins, have stepped up. We're all, stepping up and doing everything we can without thought, because this is what you do for family anyway, but especially they're thousands of miles away from home.
Yeah.
And the grace of, what was the other thing? The grace of, I guess, me knowing uh, what to do health-wise, nutrition-wise, and we'll get to that in a second. But let me cover this while I'm thinking about it, because this is something that's so very important. And I myself am guilty of it in that I had, okay, there's a such thing as travel insurance. And I don't mean just your regular old travel insurance that you tick the box on when you're buying your ticket and whatever. I can't remember the exact title for it, but you need to look it up and you need to get it. It's emergency transport insurance. Are you familiar with that at all, Geoff?
Yeah. My wife checks all those boxes and looks at all that stuff. Yeah. So if you have an emergency or something, go ahead. But
yeah. It's when you have to be transported back. Like if you have, like the medical emergency, say that you can't, still function. Say that you're all the way over in Peru or someplace. And I thought about this going to Puerto Rico, but it was such a short trip. I didn't have time, because I've gotten information in the mail through AARP, and I've kept it. And that's why I keep looking over there, because I know it's in that file there, my to-do folder over there. And it's only $189 a year.
Yeah. Wow.
Everyone needs that, because if they had that right now, because the caseworker came into the hospital room and explained this and that and whatever, it would cost $60,000 for them right now to transport them back home. Whereas if you had that insurance, and that's just for your basic needs, but if someone was really like in a coma or out or something, that's why in Puerto Rico, when my son was trying to get me to ride one of them scooters, I'm like, oh no, not away from home, no way. We're gonna ruin the rest of my vacation.
Yeah, be stuck there forever. Yeah, I got
it. So if you're gonna be ziplining, if you're gonna be doing all this wonderful stuff on vacations, or just minding your own business and a stroke happens, you need to have that. So look that up, folks. $189 a year is about what it is, and just Google it. You'll find it and sign up for it. And I am going to, and was, just putting it off because of all the move and everything. So anyway, so has anyone answered yet about the?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, Terri, let me, like Sherry is saying, we can't put this stuff off. We agree. And then Mary saying, good morning. I'm waiting. And also, yes, she had B12 shot. I guess it hurts. Ouch.
Oh.
And then Tony says, yes, I was low and needed B12 shots as well. So, I mean, some folks that are participating on that. But how many of us know people that aren't hearing this message? So make sure you're sharing this and that, because that's the whole idea about this, is getting the information out there. It's the little things that matter, right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, so I was introduced to B12 shots way back in the day when I didn't know the benefit of it, and I was too young to care about the benefit of it. But we would take a B12 shot before we would go out to the club. That way, if you drank, you didn't get a hangover. That's how I knew about B12 shots. It worked. I didn't know why, and I didn't question it. Just take.
Hey, as long as it worked, right? I get it. I ain't judging. I'm with you.
Yeah. So I didn't know what all it did to the brain and for the brain. So, but it is something you need. So here's the thing: if you you need to be familiar with what the food is that contains B12 in it, and include that every day. So I wrote down a list of plant-based. Because again, you can get B12 in meat, and that's probably what some people would say. Well, that's why I eat such and such, but no, or that's why I can't be a vegan or vegetarian, because your body does not produce. That's you. I know that's you. I'm calling you out. Your body does not produce B12. Okay, understand that your body does not produce B12. So just as I guess it was Tony that mentioned that, she said she was deficient at one time. So if you do start eating healthy, beware that that could happen. You could become deficient because you have to supplement. Okay, so buy some very good quality B12 supplements, and eat these things. Okay, you can eat. You drink almond milk, coconut milk, oat milk, soy milk, all of those. No dairy milk, no cow milk. Moo. Okay, leave the cow milk for the calves. That's the only person that's the only one. The only thing that benefits from cow milk is a calf. It's mucus. That's all milk is, cow mucus.
I just had that in my cereal this morning. Thanks a lot, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
My granddaughter's eating oats. I'm gonna try some oats milk now.
Yeah, it's so easy to get. Pea protein milk, oat milk, everywhere. You see it everywhere. Come on, Geoff. You see it everywhere. Get the right milk. So that has B12 in it. Spinach, all the dark leafy greens, spinach, kale, broccoli, all of that. Eat those all the time. Beets really have a lot of B12. Fortified tofu. Okay, I make a lot of dishes with tofu. Tofu tastes like chicken when you make it right, when you prepare it right. Mushrooms. I have mushroom coffee. This is mushroom coffee in here right now. So it's the mushrooms are infused in here. I love coffee. Coffee can be dangerous to you, especially if you have. I was diagnosed with mitral valve prolapse years back with your chamber. Your heart doesn't open and close properly, and things like caffeine, chocolate that triggers it. I'm past all that since I'm, eating the way I'm eating, and coffee. I just always love coffee, but why not make it nutritious in a good way? Yeah,
mushroom coffee.
Mushroom. Okay. Yeah, it has 7 different mushrooms. I can't even pronounce them all. Shiitake and horse something, and just a lot of stuff. But also hemp. There's hemp infused coffee as well. Very good. TCH. THC. I'll get it right. THC in your coffee. It's good. You can't add it yourself. You got to make sure it's manufactured in there, right? Let's see. Another thing, nori seaweed. So a lot of algae and seaweed stuff, all of that is so good and nutritious. Nori seaweed, you can find those nori wraps. They're flat sheets of flattened seaweed, and it's processed, and you roll it. And it's in what do you call those things? I can't suddenly think of it. Raw fish. What do you call that raw fish?
Sushi.
Sushi. Yeah. So they wrap them in nori seaweeds. Okay. So let's see. Alfalfa sprouts, probiotics like dairy-free yogurt. If you're going to eat yogurt, get dairy-free yogurt.
Yeah.
Don't listen to those commercials and you think that because it's Greek yogurt is good. If it has dairy products, it's not good. Okay. Acai berry juice. That's really big in B12. Nutritional yeast. I don't know if you've heard of nutritional yeast.
Yeah, no, I have not.
Oh, okay. It's in flakes. It's a flaky thing. I don't know how to describe it, but it is a form of yeast, and it is so nutritional. I guess the name nutritional yeast. It is so full of vitamin B12 that you should have it at any time you can. So I make a sauce that beats all nacho sauces out there. Okay. You take it to a football tailgate party and it'll be gone. It will be gone. People love it. And I make it with nutritional yeast because nutritional yeast has a cheesy taste to it.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah. So it's I make it with cashews and pretty simple. Soaked cashews and red bell peppers to give it the color. Yeah. And then the nutritional yeast, some garlic, onion powder, a little bit of sea salt, whip that up in the food processor and boom, and with some water, about half a cup of water, and that is the best. So
I'm gonna challenge you on that. Why don't you next week bring back the little recipe for that, if you don't mind, right?
okay.
And in the chat, that'll be something that someone else can try. And I'm listening to you talk about it, and I know I was thinking my wife might want to put that together for us as well, or we can do it together, she and I, because we just had unhealthy tips for lunch.
Yep. That's okay. No sharing, no
sharing. Okay, right? Hey,
no judgment. You can also put nutritional yeast on popcorn. Oh my gosh, it's so good. To get some flavor in your popcorn.
Yeah.
So popcorn is a pretty healthy snack anyway, and then make it healthier with nutritional yeast on it. So anyway, that was just a list of, and I'll write that recipe out, and I'll even bring you some. I have some in the fridge, but I'm in a different room right now. Refrigerator's way too far away. Normally I'm just kind of close. Like I ran and got the peanut butter that time. I can't just run it back. So let's see. So B12, how much time we have? We're almost out of time.
Yeah, we're getting there. But take a minute for the B12.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a lot and enough about the B12, but just backing up a little to the stroke situation. Okay, so we know how to prevent a stroke, help prevent a stroke, and how to recover from a stroke. But now the stroke itself, there are two types of strokes. One is an ischemic stroke, and that's where you have a blood clot that's blocking the passageway to the brain. So it's there's a lack of blood that's getting to the brain, and blood brings the oxygen. You have no oxygen, your brain can't function, and then side of your face goes, the brain can't tell that side to do what it needs to do. Right. So, and then the other kind is a hemorrhagic stroke, and that's where you just have blood to the brain, bleeding in and around the brain, and that is the one that's really pretty bad and hard to recover from. But the ischemic one is good. Like I said, if they catch it in enough time, and they give you TPA, it's TPA, and they call it PA, and it's a form of drug that they give, and they only have a 3-hour window in which to give it. And what it does is it opens up the blood vessels, opens up the way to get rid of the clots and stuff. Now, I must say, my cousin was not he's a meat eater. He's not a vegan or anything at all. And he had just said at lunch, and I won't bring it back on him, but he just said, I can never be a vegan. But guess what? He's becoming a vegan now because they're willing enough to listen. And when I mentioned to them about B12, now I'm not, here to tell anyone how to handle their stuff. You need to read it for yourself. You need to do your own research. Look at peer review research. Okay. There's a difference in peer review and just scholarly research. Peer review has to go through it's scrutinized by peers of that person who's written it, the PhDers and the doctors of oncology and neurology and just all of, high quality people are reviewing this stuff before it gets put out. Scholarly review it's done by experts also, but they don't have to put it through the ringer through all these people. They just have an editorial board that, reviews it. And then you have to look at who's paying those editorial people. Yeah, if they're being paid by the folks that just want you to be on ventilators or want this or that, then no. But so the information that I was feeding them, I said, he needs to get B12. I said, but find out what meds he's taken, because B12 could interfere with the meds. Yes. That's why you should always confer with your doctor. The best thing is just to never be on meds. But if you are in a situation like in a hospital and they put you on meds, you're at their mercy. The next best thing is to find out what the meds are. And it's not easy. They're not going to volunteer that information, and they weren't going to give it to her at first. But I'm like, no, you are entitled to, he's entitled to that information. Get it. So then you can just do your own homework and know what's what. So she just called me before we went on air here and put the nurse on because I told them, do not eat that food. Do not eat any food they put on his tray. And they're like, oh, well, we puree it. I don't care. It's pureed mess. It is pureed toxic mess. Do not, white potatoes. They're giving white potatoes is full of sugar. The minute potatoes get into your body, that starch turns to sugar. And she said, well, no, that was before, but now we have them on a pre-diabetic or diabetic diet. And it's still crap what they give them. I'm sorry, but hospitals are not for nutrition. They don't learn nutrition in med school, so it's no fault of theirs. They're not there to get you up and well and out of there. Now, I must say, he took some juice that I made. I made some kale power juice yesterday, and he drank it, and he started talking better. She's like, wow, already. He can, sounds better. And then this morning, so she went and bought some cold pressed juice, gave it to him, and he's really talking now. Wow. Clearly and everything. And I know now he's ready to do some jumping jacks and get up. So I said, the only way we can get his arm to move, because everything else is coming along fine. He's still no pressure. Nothing in his arm. I said, the only way is to not eat that crap and to take B12. So now he's listening because he's a golfer. Oh my God, golfer. So I know what's going through his mind. How can he ever golf again?
Yeah.
So she put the nurse on the phone. They gave him an aspirin. I'm like, oh, no aspirin. That's horrible. But they do that. They already gave him blood thinners and said he cannot scratch himself, nick himself, or anything. He'll bleed to death. Yeah. I'm like, wow, that's very comforting. So they already gave him that. Why are they giving him an aspirin? Because it just says to do it, and that's for blood thinning too. But you can eat beets and do that. Yeah. So I told her, she's like, well, what are you bringing him? I said, well, what are you guys bringing him? I'm not telling you until you tell me.
Making friends, man. Making friends.
Yeah. She said, well, he's got to eat. Blah, blah, blah. I said, well, he's got to have some B12 in him, and he's got to have nutritious stuff in him. She's like, well, you can't be bringing him any hamburger and French fries up in here. I'm like, no, it won't be that. So yeah, I'm taking him salmon and sweet potatoes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because B12 all in that food.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes can be very tasty.
Yeah, and it's tasty too. And then so she finally said, okay, I can bring my stuff.
Well, but it's so interesting. People, no one wants to do anything to harm anybody, right? So we're not here bashing the services or anything like that. It's just some of the simple things like the plant-based yeast or the yeast, plant-based
nutritional yeast,
nutritional yeast, and then the juices that you make. So I'm gonna ask you maybe next week, since that's the last week, and I see someone's taking the B complex. Let's taking the B complex, and you're gonna get in trouble. I'm going to go back to where you were taking B12 before you went out. Your mom says, oh, my goodness. She's sorry about that, Mrs. Liggins.
I probably only did it one time. I only went out.
It was only once an experiment for class, I think I heard it say.
There you go. One time that week.
So we want to kind of like bring a couple of things. So make sure you're going to come back to the fourth week because she's going to have a few things that she's going to give out and exercise. And Terri, I don't want to speak out of turn, but if I'm not mistaken, don't you also have some supplements that you not only use but have access to that you may be able to provide for people that would want to try different vitamins or things like that? Am I correct in that?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. In this 10th anniversary of my health initiative, the Law of Raw Institute for Balanced Healthy Living, we're referring people to a way that they can get healthier products for their body, for their household, all of that, and get it online. They can order it just like shopping online. And yes, so it's a referral program that there are supplements in it, and these are high quality supplements. So yes, thanks for mentioning that.
Yeah, so we'll have that access too in there, and Your mom said, yeah, right. So I try not to get
that once a week thing or that once thing.
yeah, she's rolling her eyes. I can see her now, right? Yeah, I love to meet mom sometimes, man.
Oh yeah, she's all right.
She's adorable. So yeah, so we'll have some of those information available next week, week 4, and I believe it's going to be the same time. Terry, if that works well with your schedule, we'll do the same thing. And so we talked about week 1 about salads. We talked about week 2 around reading the ingredients on the bottles and the vanilla extract. I believe I went right away and looked at them and we had the pure, so we didn't have.
See, I told you. Had.
Yeah. So I'm doing what I'm told. So I encourage everybody else that it's not only in your own household, but take this information and share it in your family and in a way that's not judgmental, right? I mean, it's a hard. What we're talking about is difficult, particularly preparing for wills and trust and the ultimate death that's going to happen to all of us and preparing for that. I just wanted to say this about all of that. You talked about how many things that his wife had to go through, to get him straightened out, let alone all the other things had he passed that she would have to do.
Yes.
Right? I mean, so there is no better time. Yeah. And some of this stuff will take time and may involve the court system and some other things like that.
Yep.
So
something so simple as the password to your cell phone. If he wasn't able to, initially he was able to mumble and, so he was able to tell her the password. But, that's how she was able to, call his job and get to their flight reservations. And I tell people, Southwest or any airline, you can't just, they don't give you, all the information. You got to have the confirmation number or else you're just kind of out of luck and you could be sitting there for a long time trying to fiddle through whatever. She did not have the confirmation numbers because they were only on his phone and he was kind of in and out at that point and fortunately was able to. So all these little things, you can't prepare for everything, but you can, you can't think of everything. Who would have thought of that? Something so minor as, I need to have a copy of the confirmation number with me too. Who thinks of that? But you have to just be always on the defensive and always ready. And then that frame of mind to be prepared.
So Terri, I'm listening to you. I'm thinking, because we're going to wind it down and wrap it up, maybe in addition to, the recipe and that you come up with next week and some information on some supplements, maybe you look at all the information that you have and give them some, maybe 2 or 3 basic things that they can begin to do. Thanks, Mr. Liggins. I'm looking forward to it too. Mm-hmm. I'm connected with your moms. Is that okay? I mean, can I share your moms with you? Mine's gone. I feel her energy. So thank you, Mr. Liggins. And maybe just kind of maybe some simple things like passwords to your phone. My wife has everything. I don't have any secrets, right? About anything, but I know there's stuff that we don't have in order. So maybe just a little, because we don't want them. Next week's not the end; it's the beginning of the next phase, right? And so make sure you share this with your friends, and she'll have some more information. Any parting words, Terri, in the next 60 seconds that you can leave with us?
Yes, in 60 seconds, I would say, do your research. And I'll just really quickly say, COVID-19 vaccinations equal increased risk of stroke. All right, I'll leave you with that because it is not coming from my mouth. It's coming from these peer-reviewed journals. Look them up. It's there. So do what you have to do, what you feel right in your body, but do it in an educated manner. Please do it in an educated manner, and not just because someone said to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to do my research. I wrote it down, put a circle around it, I take my homework away from this session, so I really look forward to what I'm supposed to do. I hope everybody else does the same. Terri, thank you so much again for coming up here and showing up and dropping some heavy nuggets for everybody. We appreciate you as always, and looking forward to next week and all the information you're going to bring. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Hey, what I tell you, this lady is fire, right? And we appreciate everybody participating in the chat and sharing your love and supporting us as we try to get this message out. We know how important it is and how great a person to get it from than Terri, right? She just lays it out there and it's real. And I like it because I can understand it, and that is important. Get comfortable with people that can help you in spaces that you may not be comfortable with, and around health, finances, whatever that might be. So her information should be in the chat. And make sure you put it on your calendar for next Tuesday, same time. We'll kind of do the wrap up and review and maybe tell you a little bit about what's coming up next from this, and hope everybody can continue to support this and share this. And if I may move into just a quick announcement, as a real estate investor, you guys know me as the King of Rehabs, and we are actually doing a training, actually a challenge, right? August 10th, 11th, and 12th, free 3-day challenge, house flipping made simple. How many of us on here know about people that talk about wanting to do rehabs or doing it, are new investors in that space, or just curious about it, and don't have construction experience, don't have investing experience, but they want to do something and they're looking for some information? Well, come hook up with us. That should be in the link. Also, it's house flipping made simple, and I'm the instructor in that challenge, man. And it's just going to be 3 days and 90 minutes a day, all about simplicities of the business and most importantly, why you want to do it, right? Why do you want to change your diet? Why do you want to listen to Terri and I, on Tuesdays? What's that purpose for, right? Because there's got to be something that's going to make you do something different. So whatever that challenge is for you, make sure you stay focused on managing the conversation going on in your head, getting yourself prepared to make sure that your spouse and loved ones in order when that time comes. And more importantly, live for today, right now, just today. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Make sure you register for the challenge. It's August 10th. It should be in the chat. If you can't find it, just go to mastermind.com, put in my name, read through the challenge information. We have some before and after pictures of some of the projects that we've done. And listen, I don't just say King of Rehabs just to be saying it. That name was given to me because we would buy some of these crappy houses that we're showing you and then fixing them up, right? And more importantly, helping people there's no better time. I'm gonna really be quiet here. There's no better time than now, with everything going on, with inflation and interest rates and uncertainty in our world climate and war and all that stuff, for us not to kind of finally step away and do what it is we want to do, right? Whether it's real estate or whatever it might be, now is the time. And the best way to help you do that is to change the conversation going on in your head with yourself about yourself, right? Tomorrow, I want you to think about who you're talking to, and that's you. And what are you saying to yourself? And if it's not something that's empowering, encouraging, and inspiring to yourself, then slap yourself gently, right? Hit the reset button and give yourself a chance to stand up and have a great day, all right? Because that's what I had to do this morning, right? Listen, I told you guys I was going to go, so I'm going to do that. Thank you so much. Hit the reset button and make sure you have us on the calendar for next Tuesday. Love and respect. We'll see you later. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mary. Appreciate you.